Chilling here in a collective comic. Got this willing with your momics.
Chilling, and we're not gonna vomit. That's where I went.
We're not gonna vomit.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Collective Comics and the Lights Comics Action Podcast. We're diving into episode 25 today. I'm joined by the homie Jungle J.
I'm the homie Jungle J.
We had another one yesterday.
Yeah, just like,
I don't remember what it was.
You're like, I'm going to call you that from now on.
Yeah, and now I forgot.
Forgot about it.
Of course. It must have been so great.
This is the best. It's probably the best ever.
You're right.
Man.
Oh, dang, I really wish I would remember.
This is a little bit of a different look for us.
It really is, yeah. If you guys couldn't tell.
Audio listeners are either loving this or hating this because we do have better mics because of this. But we'll see how it turns out in the end. We're using a new software, and we just couldn't get together this week to film it, and we needed to try this out anyways because we want to have guests on soon, hopefully.
Yeah, so we're scheduled for next week to have a couple guests on. We're going to keep that one a secret. We might throw it in there somewhere in the podcast, so that's going to keep you listening.
Keep you listening. But
keep you listening. We might say something about it, but
yeah,
we're going to keep you on the edge of your seat.
We're messing with different cameras. We're messing with different lights. We're messing with different angles. It's all over the place right now, but I think in the future, this is going to make the podcast a lot better.
Yeah, what you guys can see from my corner is the side that the camera is usually against, you know, and can't see. So you guys are seeing the total opposite side of the room a little bit.
The camera is usually almost exactly where you're sitting.
Yeah, it's like usually right behind me. So
yeah.
I put up a couple things. You know, we got the Green Goblin, Spider-Man, Superman back there. But it doesn't look normal, and then your camera's in a completely different household.
Yeah, actually, our old podcast, the camera was sitting right underneath me and to that way a little bit, and then
right, in the basement.
In my temporary little setup here, I had to put some cool things on the walls and clean up.
Dude,
it
looks
bit.
pretty good if that's temporary.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I was thinking that. I was like, maybe I just want to stay here. No, I don't. But man, the basement's still coming along. It's weird, man. I just want it to be done so bad, but I don't want to work on it anymore. I'm so sick of it. But
just tired.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
I feel that.
Jumping
man,
in
yeah,
this week.
Okay. Like I said, we're running tests, guys. So
right.
Making sure that we're not talking over each other. So it's a little bit different. We usually run things in person.
We're actually running
over video chat.
We're running on Riverside. It's not as bad as it was on Discord. Cause we tried Discord too. We've used Discord.
Yep.
We're always like, I feel like everybody's always talking over everybody on Discord with the delay.
Oh yeah, there's always like that half-second delay and everything.
Right.
This is they're pretty on top of it.
Yeah, it's pretty good over here.
Yeah.
But we got a couple trailers this week. I definitely want to talk about a couple trailers because I'm actually like happy for these trailers. Like I'm excited for these couple things. We got Blue Beetle from DC. I know you're ready to talk about Blue Beetle.
Yeah, I believe this was like 2 days ago.
Yeah, it wasn't long ago.
We got it. Yeah, it was 2 days ago. I saw it yesterday, and you're like, "Did you see the Blue Beetle trailer?" I was like, "Nope."
Yeah.
I don't know if they had ever announced the cast before. Did they?
I don't know
who Blue Beetle was before the trailer came out.
I didn't really look into it at all because I didn't know what was coming or what was actually coming or if they're cutting this or cutting that. I have no idea.
Yeah, for a little bit, it was supposed to be. It was shelved. It got shelved, but I guess they're obviously still coming out with it. For a little bit, it almost didn't happen.
Right.
But yeah, so I don't know if we got the cast of Blue Beetle, but I definitely didn't know. So when I saw that trailer and I saw, I'm going to say Miguel Diaz because that's what I know him as from Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else is a fan of Cobra Kai, but I'm a huge Cobra Kai fan. I was super stoked on him playing Blue Beetle. I was saying something to you about it, and I was like, dude, this is like gonna be the new Action Kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, you were like,
how,
that's the guy from Cobra Kai. I'm like, oh, I've never watched Cobra Kai, so I was like, all right. But yeah,
he was good, dude. He was really good. He
mean,
started out like super skinny too, so he's bulking up, and he especially for like a superhero character, so he's clearly doing something right.
Just in this trailer alone, he's good. Like this trailer was really good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, not gonna lie, he seems to be playing the exact kind of character that Miguel Diaz is.
Oh, really?
In Cobra Kai, you know. A little bit, as far as like.
There was also some humor and stuff in this that, like, does he have the humor and stuff in Cobra Kai as well, or is that like a DC choice for Blue Beetle?
I think there was a little bit. I think DC is making that choice, but there was definitely some humorous parts in Cobra Kai, and things like that. But then it got pretty serious pretty quick with Cobra Kai. I don't know. Are you gonna watch it?
Probably not. I feel like I've looked to watch it a few times. I'm like, I'm too far back. Like, you know what I mean? It's gonna be like one of those things where like 10 years from now, I like watch the whole thing.
Right.
You know?
Okay. So like, I don't know if I want to tell you like the biggest.
Oh, you can tell me anything. Tell me.
Okay.
We gotta warn everybody though. If you're gonna spoil it, spoilers for everybody, not just me.
Spoiler alert! Is there an alert button? We got buttons over here. So spoiler alert. You know, that's how that works. Yeah, that's the right button. You know.
Woo!
Right. Spoiler alert. But if anybody hasn't seen Cobra Kai, you're a few years late. But when they dropped it in 2 seasons. And the end of season 2, they dropped, and Miguel, which is the kid who's playing Blue Beetle, gets tossed off of the ledge at school, like over a staircase, and like goes into a coma and is in the hospital, and they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know if he's paralyzed, like what's going to happen. And that was the end of season 2. So then we had to wait like 6 months to get season 3 to even see if Miguel like is going to make it and stuff. So like I said, it got pretty quick and heavy for him, but he still has those funny moments, and he's a funny guy and gets through it.
Blue Beetle's also just like one of those characters. He's just a kid who ends up with powers, and he's freaking out, and he's always excited. And it's kind of an interesting take, because especially when he teams up with Batman, Batman's so serious all the time. You know what I mean? And he's just like the complete opposite. But the suit looked cool in that trailer. Like, I liked, honestly, pretty much everything about the trailer.
Yeah, I'm like actually watching it right now, like off screen. Yeah, like without the volume, just to keep it, you know. Oh yeah, this. Oh yeah, that. That's what I like about this. This is kind of cool.
Yeah, you can
having
just
this
watch
new
stuff.
angle. Yeah, you know, I'm like,
music,
I do remember this. Really?
I got a little bit of lo-fi going on and quietly in the background.
Oh, nice, man. Maybe we should get a music track going.
I'm just vibing, you know.
Should we get a music track going?
Music track? What kind of music track? Yeah. Oh, okay.
You know how it is.
Whoa.
It's a dance party up in here.
Here we go.
Get your lights going.
This is what happens when you give 2 guys with ADHD buttons to play with and noises to make.
Right. I know. I should probably close the soundboard realistically, like, and just keep it off my screen.
That's so funny though.
Oh my gosh! But yeah, we're talking Blue Beetle.
Okay, I totally forgot. I was like, "Oh, we're talking about music now." No,
right? We're talking about the Blue Beetle trailer, but yeah, kind of. He's almost kind of playing the same character as far as even, you can kind of see in certain points of the trailer, like he's almost trying to. I don't know, like he still has that kid in him, but he's still like battling that. Like he's growing up, type of feeling. So he keeps getting put in those like adult situations, and you could tell he's very like almost. I don't know if you want to say like humbled, but almost like kind of scared in those situations. But he just kind of laughs it off and like forces himself through it. Is what it's seeming like. So kind of the same issues.
I feel like
socially.
like we were saying, like that's super Blue Beetle, but it almost seems a little bit more serious in this, you know. But like the humor and stuff, I think is in a good place as far as like if the movie doesn't go like crazy off the wall past this, you know. I like the humor where it's at. And what was it? George Lopez is in it as the dad or whatever. Is that George Lopez?
Yeah, that took me a second to realize that is George Lopez. Yeah.
I always wanted to say Carlos Mencia, but I know that's not. I was like, who is this guy? I know who this is, but
you can do it.
It's just Rob Schneider from Adam Sandler. You can do it. But yeah, overall, great trailer. I feel like if we stay on it any longer, we're just gonna start saying the same things over and over again because it's a trailer. It's a couple minutes long. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It's literally two and a half minutes long. So
right.
But we also, I think it's pretty great.
We also got Secret Invasion teaser, which I guess I thought it was further away than it is, but it's coming out in June.
I feel like we're starting to think that now, and it's like we're stuck in 2022, like not remembering, like, oh, dude, it's 2023. What's on my face? Sorry, I went out to eat. Yep. I also totally just some B-dubs on my face.
Whoops, I didn't even see it. I just assume everything's coming in 2024 at this point. You know what I mean? With all the announcements and everything, like.
I think it's because that's the stuff that we're actually like really excited for.
And I think a lot of like isn't DC starting in 2024? Like this is all just kind of like residual stuff that was like roll off of what was already expected. And like I think Superman is coming in 2024, which starts it.
Yeah, yeah, where James Gunn is taking over and stuff like that. Yeah, so we're still a little bit away from that. So I'm interested to see on where they're gonna go, but I don't think. As far as everything else that they've been doing, you know, we just went and saw. Why can't I just can't say that. Yeah. We just went and saw that movie.
There's a League of Legends character called Sejuani, and I for sure thought you were saying that, but you don't even really play League, so I don't know why. That's like you're saying it. You're saying it. I know it is.
Right. That's just straight where your mind goes.
Right.
But oh, geez, what was I talking about?
Shazam.
Regardless,
we just saw Shazam.
Oh yeah. I don't think that we're in bad hands as far as DC, because I wouldn't at all consider Shazam like a bad movie. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it was a very good movie, and I think that it did a very good job at telling the story that it did, given the terms that it did, with as many pullouts as that happened, and could have been holes created in the story, and there's still a couple of them. But what are you gonna do? This is kind of like we're putting it out because we kind of have to, because we spent all this money and canceled everything else, and we need to put something out, you know.
Batgirl. But that's
I know that's what I'm thinking too.
That's like
I'm thinking the same thing, man.
That's kind of what we said. Like overall, it's a pretty decent movie. It's just like everything around it is just hard to forget at this point. You know what I mean? It's like there's so much going on and so much, especially doing what we do with the podcast. We just see it every day. Like I just see stuff about DC every day. I see stuff about James Gunn every day, you know? And it's like now I have to go sit through a movie that probably doesn't matter in the future of DC, and I just hear about all these things every day, and it's just like, how do you forget about that walking in the door? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I feel like overall I'm pretty good at like leaving it at the door, but for this one I was just like bombarded with all the stuff, and then walking the door, it's like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, it's like the D in DC stands for drama.
Yeah,
that's what a lot of what we're getting from DC. Not that we're not getting it from Marvel, but Marvel is taking that step back and is like, we're committing to the fans, and we're not gonna put out trash anymore, and all this stuff, you know. So like now it's DC's turn to take some drama.
Yeah,
and
I think
put it in the spotlight.
I think it's a weird time too, because like there's so much, like people are kind of sick of a lot of this at this point. You know what I mean? There's I can't think of the word. It's like they're like burnt out on all this stuff. Like, give me a good movie, or it's not a good movie. Like, I'm done with it. You
yeah,
know,
at this point, I'm starting to just give me a movie, and I'm down to see what I see, and if I like it, then I like it. You know.
Yeah.
But I think doing what they're doing with all these tie-ins isn't a bad thing, but it's almost kind of hurting them now because it's almost like they have to tie everything in to each other. And why does that have to happen? Like back movies didn't used to do that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like Spider-Man, like Tobey and stuff like that didn't tie into Iron Man. I mean, obviously, you know, it was just really different things, but there was other Superman or Super Marvel movies that were coming out, like the Hulk. So I think Sony did a Hulk, and they did a pretty decent one that I thought, and they didn't tie in, and why do they have to tie in?
I think that's one thing that DC's doing well is, like, they have they want to go with their main universe as, like, their regular DCU, but then they have, like, the Elseworlds as well. So, like, you can still just get movies like the Batman and Joker and stuff like that. It's always weird because I feel like I'm saying the Batman and Joker like it's one thing, but Joaquin Phoenix Joker and Robert Pattinson Batman.
Yeah. I'm following along. I don't know if
yeah.
anybody else is
I
following
just don't
along,
know.
but yeah.
But it's like you can get kind of the best of both worlds. It just kind of sucks because, like, Black Adam's coming from DC as well, and it's like, I think the marketing and just The Rock's push for that got so annoying for a lot of people too. It's like, all right, we're already excited, like, for the movie because you're in it. Like, just give us a good movie, and then everything else happened afterwards, and like it's just like, here, have some more. And I loved that John Cena was always in the Peacemaker outfit and suit, you know, because, like, he would just go do a random interview in the Peacemaker suit. But it's just like,
you're saying even outside of the movie,
yeah, he would just do everything in the Peacemaker suit, and then it's just like everywhere you go, it's just kind of getting shoved down your throat. You know what I mean? Where, like, I think Marvel has put out too much. If they take that back a little bit, I think they have a good amount of marketing where, like, you know when things are coming, but, like, that's kind of where it stops. It's not like a bombardment. You know what I mean? And they're in a place where they've been doing this for how long? You know what I mean? They're in a place where they can do what they're doing. Where DC's trying to, like, restart now with, like, all this stuff,
which
happening.
Is kind of crazy because, like, because I was watching a couple videos a couple days ago saying how through the Silver Age and like that Bronze Age into the modern age, how Marvel has started, especially with the comics and stuff. They went bankrupt and they sold all their stuff, and throughout the 70s, like with Spider-Man and stuff, they made a really, really bad Spider-Man, and it went straight to TV and stuff like that, and they lost a bunch of money, and they went bankrupt, claimed bankruptcy, and DC at that point, 70s going into the 80s, Marvel couldn't do anything that whole time because they were selling to other companies. So some heroes they had the rights to, some heroes they didn't, some heroes other companies wouldn't let get turned into a movie, so they were battling that. And then as they're battling that, they're planning for Batman. DC's planning for Batman, and then the Keaton thing happens, and Keaton comes out.
Yeah.
At the same time, they had a very successful run with Adam West.
Mm-hmm.
In that point in time, so they were crushing it, and now it's almost like Marvel has finally came back 30, 40, 50 years later, whatever it may be, and is taking the reins and really, really, really pushing it hard, which is, good for them. But it's crazy, especially because, we're both DC fans. I'm a massive DC fan. You see, we got all this Batman stuff behind us, or behind me, and you got some Joker stuff back there. I can see some Batman.
I think a lot of this is DC, but it's just so small you can't see it.
Right.
I think it's a weird too, because I think the Marvel really benefited from them just starting a studio, and it's not like Grand Marvel. It's like some guys were like, let's make an Iron Man movie and see if it happens, and if it's cool, cool. If it's not, like, we made an Iron Man movie. And like, I would argue that if Marvel strictly stuck with Sony, like, it wouldn't be what it is today. I don't think the Sony movies, even the ones coming out now, are as good as Marvel Studios is putting out. And that might be the Disney money. I don't know. Like, how does Sony not have Disney money? But you know what I mean? Well, I guess I think of Sony as like a massive
Disney,
thing.
Yeah,
but Disney's gigantic. But
Disney,
it's
like, if you look at the branch at like marketing and what Disney has their hands in, they pretty much own every single piece of media and entertainment. If
like, in my
media
head,
and entertainment, they buy it.
In my head, like, Sony is just massive. Like, Sony's been around me all my life. You know what I mean? It's like, everybody had the Sony stereos in their car before Bose, and Sony TVs, and Sony computers, and Sony this, and
I
Sony
wouldn't
that.
doubt if Disney owns a part of Sony.
Well, you'd think these negotiations with characters would go a little bit better if they owned a part of it. You know what I mean?
Right, or maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, I don't know, but
that's my old coworker. No way.
I think Marvel did a good thing at a good time where they're like, we're doing Marvel, we're focusing on Marvel, whereas like things like Sony and Warner Brothers were like, we have superheroes, but we also have everything else that we're doing too.
Yeah. And
then they were also hit at a time where like everybody was kind of like liking like the Spider-Man, like Tobey Maguire's and stuff like that, and like we didn't see anything like Iron Man, really. You know what I mean? Like, it was different. It was just a little bit different than everything else that we'd seen.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that has to do a little bit with like the technology that we had, and with the, Spider-Man. Like when those came out, you can say whatever about the CG that's in it now, but those were really good when they came out. But then for that, it started moving so fast in the 2000s with technology and animation and stuff like that it got so good by the time Iron Man came out that it was just absolutely amazing.
Right. And I think,
and I think that like you said, I think like at the time that the continuity thing that helped Marvel because people want the tie-ins and stuff like that, but now it's almost like they're afraid to do any movie without tying it in to something.
Yeah.
Like they could like even DC, like they couldn't even do Black Adam without tying it into Superman.
Well, I think I'm on the other side of the fence from you on that discussion, but I think that's something that's
well, I'm not saying that it was a good thing though, because like I wanted it to happen, and that's I feel like the other side of the fence that you're on for me, like with the Black Adam and Superman thing. But they still did it. You know what I'm saying? And then
I'm on the side where like I want like 90% of things to be tied together. Like, I love that stuff. Like, I want like the through lines. I want the story. I want the payoff in the end. But I'm also willing for things to drop for a little bit to build up another story to have the payoff. But it seems like everybody is mad at Marvel if that happens. So Marvel is trying to like hit Endgame, and they're like, all right, now we have to go above Endgame. It's like, no, like, you have to calm the story down and build it. Like, it's peaks and valleys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where like they're like, Endgame, and they just keep going. It's like you're gonna have no payoff at the end because everything's so high that like. That being said, like, I like the Elseworld idea, like being able to have some stuff. It doesn't all have to be, but you still have that big main timeline. But I think the big thing that was bad for DC is like nothing was tied together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have Titans over here, Doom Patrol over here. You have the Joaquin Phoenix. You have the Robert Pattinson. You have this Justice League, and everybody's like, give me something to follow. I have no idea what's happening. You know what I mean?
Well, they started to do that when Marvel started to do it ish with their after the Dark Knight came out, Marvel had Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
And then that started that's the start of phase 1 for the MCU.
Right. Right.
Was Iron Man. So that like that's when they started doing DC like with Aquaman and
the Snyderverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Snyderverse. And that's what they started like tying in together almost cuz like they had to be able to compete, but like I like, you know, and I'm not saying that it, you know, I this I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like I like the tie-ins and I think there needs to be enough of it to make things make sense. The problem with a lot of it and with DC right now especially is that they're just like, oh, well, you know, we have this thing in the comics, you know, Elseworlds and Earth 2 and other kind of Earths and this whole universe and multiverse, so we're just going to say that this took place in a multiverse, you know, and that it's not part of the timeline like they did with Black Adam.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, oh, this is just a multiverse story, so it doesn't even matter anymore. You know, the problem for me with them trying to say that is that they've never actually done a movie or done anything regarding the multiverse up until now.
Right, yeah.
You know, and we're just now going to start getting they're cracking open the multiverse and getting Flash to jump timelines, and we're going to get a couple different Batmen and they're tying them now. They're starting to tie things together, but we're just finally getting the multiverse, and I think that was the problem up until this point is that they had to get there, but they're almost, I don't know. When they made a bad movie, they brush it off to the multiverse.
I think one thing that's different between Marvel and DC too is like I feel like Marvel will just put out things and people don't like it, but it's a really big connection. So like I know we've said it like multiple times. We're like, this just seemed like a way to get to XYZ, but they put those junctions in there, so you're like, you don't even have to think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how much crap do we talk about She-Hulk? But from She-Hulk, they can introduce this person, that person. They can go this direction, that direction. You know what I mean? They do have that junction there, where I feel like DC almost feels like shoehorned into everything. It's like, oh, we couldn't get this cameo. Let's get this cameo. This one costs too much. Let's do this. We have to. Just do it. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, 100%.
Why did you do that? And it's like, especially now with everything going on, it's like, why are the Peacemaker people in here when this doesn't? You know what I mean? And it just creates that. It creates those questions for you.
Yeah. I think the point of view that you're kind of talking is that like Marvel is making these shows with the multiverse and with, you know, opening up to going into space and the galaxy and World War Hulk and all these different possibilities, is that they're kind of creating these shows with that safety net in mind.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? DC's not creating those shows with that safety net in mind. They're just using it at the end when they hear the critics.
And then they're like, unfortunately, the thing that happened in Black Adam, they're like, here's a movie, and then here's the end credit scene, and then after the end credit scene, you're like, okay, but that didn't do anything. That didn't go anywhere. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then, whereas like in Spider-Man, what was it? I don't remember which Spider-Man it was when Daredevil was in it. You're like, oh, Daredevil's in it. Why? Wait, why is Daredevil in this? And then later you get the payoff of like, oh, that's why Daredevil was in this movie 7 years ago. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
I think that's something that we can achieve now, though, with James Gunn, as kind of broken up and bumpy the road is to get there. I think James Gunn does want to try to have best of both worlds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think we see it happening. It's just, I think it comes down to also the contracts that we've talked about millions of times on our podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All the legal stuff, that's the stuff that makes it complicated.
Like if you sign a one movie deal with Gal Gadot and then you write in a cameo for her, but you never got her to agree to it, and then you can't afford her, like that already, your timeline's already messed up. You know what I mean? Like now are you gonna try to get Superman, Batman, Flash? Are you just gonna put a Superman cameo in where you can't see Superman's head? You know what I mean? Like they did in the Shazam.
That was funny.
I was like, after I saw, because I just watched Shazam 1 the day that we went to see Shazam 2. After the movie I went and I was like, did they cut Superman's head? Like, did they do some editing to this? But like, it was just always like that. They just never showed his head. It's so weird. And then, I don't know. It's so interesting to me. I think it comes to that dedicated, like James Gunn is DC's dedicated superhero guy now, looking at a timeline, planning out 10 years. So I'm hoping that we kind of eliminate some of those questions that just build up, you know what I mean, just from watching something. And I think that's just going to help DC tremendously. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. 100%.
Well, I think we started this conversation by saying there's a Secret Invasion trailer.
Is that what? Do we not get to that?
I don't think we did because
we went on a 20-minute tangent, and
I think so. Well, Secret Invasion trailer looks cool.
Yeah, it looks really good. It didn't look like a TV show trailer.
Yeah, I thought it was a movie this whole time.
Mm-hmm. Until you told me, you're like, oh, it's a show. And I was like, what?
Right. Yeah, because it was always like on the timelines, it's always like we're getting to Secret Invasion and then we're getting to Secret Wars. So I had imagined those would be like movies.
Yeah.
But it's a show. And I'm kind of excited because it's like we're going to get like 8 movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're going to get like 8 to 10 hours of content at a time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that'll be really neat.
I'm excited for that. Nick Fury, Samuel Jackson, looking like a bad A like he always does.
Right.
It looks like he's the most wanted man in the country, in the world possibly.
Right. I definitely wouldn't be upset if Secret Wars turned into a TV show. Just to get more Secret Wars.
I think it would be better as a TV show.
Probably.
I think 100% it would be better as a TV show. Honestly, I think a lot of these comics would. Because you're taking 8 to 15 issues of something and putting it in an hour and a half to 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you took 8 issues and made 8 episodes, but
so I mean, like an hour an issue, yeah.
You would have to embellish a little bit in between, but now that especially for Marvel having the big buildup of a universe that we were just talking about, like you have things that you could do, but something like Secret Wars, if you made that into 8 episodes, I think it would be so good.
Yeah, it'd be a really awesome TV show.
I think we have to figure out something with like box office numbers and stuff though too. I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago. It's like this just isn't how people are watching movies anymore. You know what I mean? And trying to build up that first weekend box office numbers. It's like,
yeah, I think that's where, like we were talking about previously on another podcast, is that I think that's kind of how they win awards and things like that. I don't know how TV shows win awards.
Yeah, I don't either. Give me 1 second.
You're frozen. Is he gonna do it? Here, how about? The heck is this? What did I do? Are you seeing this video?
Yeah.
Powered by Riverside FM.
Okay.
We had some technical difficulties. I don't remember exactly what we're talking about.
No. But overall, Secret Invasion looks dope. I read the first few issues of the new run that's going out right now. It's super cool.
Does that seem to be what they're kind of telling.
I don't think, like we said with the Blue Beetle trailer, it's so short that like they're gonna obviously just get a bunch of action in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't. And the whole thing is about Skrulls, and we only saw one Skrull in the whole trailer. You know what I mean? But that's the whole thing, is they're shape-shifting into people. I think it's a little bit of a different angle because the first issue, spoilers if you haven't read the comic, but the first issue starts with Nick Fury, and he goes to visit this family, and he can sense that they are Skrulls, and he ends up killing them all. And then he goes to visit, and they all, like, after they die, they all transform back into Skrulls or whatever. And then at the end of that, he goes and visits a friend in the government, and they end up finding out that Nick Fury has visited every big government building in the country, like a Skrull version of him. And basically there's all these Skrulls imitating Nick Fury and going into the big government buildings, and that's like where it leaves off. And so, and then one of the Avengers, you find out one of the Avengers is a Skrull, but we don't know which one, and they might have been a Skrull this whole time, and it's a whole thing. So this invasion could be super deep, and we have no idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see how they handle all this stuff. Like, just the shape-shifting CG is something I'm excited about, because we have to see some people transition from Skrull to Hero or Nick Fury or vice versa, you know?
Right.
So seeing how they decide to do that morph is going to be exciting to me. But just the storyline seems so interesting, of having these Skrulls infiltrated our country so deeply that we don't know who's real and who's not. Right. And I don't know, like we were saying, I'm so happy this is a show, because I feel like there's so much they can do with it that, like, I don't think we'd get it in one movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably not. Did they? One question that I did have is, you know, there's some stuff that I missed because of all the shows and stuff that they've been putting out. Mm-hmm. But when did Nick Fury get the tattoo on his face?
Is it a tattoo or is it a scar?
It could have been a scar. I don't know.
I think it's a scar, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, if it's a scar. It looked like a tattoo to me. I was like, when did he pull a Mike Tyson?
Yeah, right?
I was like, when is he?
I could be wrong, happen? But
it looked like a tattoo to me in the trailer. Let me see. I had the trailer up here a second ago. But, yeah, it looked to be like a tattoo. Oh, it might be a scar. Yeah, no, it's under his eye. It's the scar.
Yeah. But looking like a BA, like always. Samuel L. Jackson,
yeah.
Man. You can't.
I thought it was a tattoo because I thought it almost looked like tribal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got you.
It was just the angle.
I just watched Hangover last night, just in the background, so Mike Tyson's face tattoo is real fresh in my mind.
He's got a podcast called Hot Boxing. If you can imagine Mike Tyson in a hot box, it's exactly what it is.
That's great.
It's hilarious. It's great. It's actually pretty funny. But
we also got some stuff from Joker too, with Gaga's Harley Quinn. She's dancing on the steps with Joaquin Phoenix. I feel like the more I hear about that movie, the more I'm excited about it.
Oh yeah, man, that's like spiking crazy books, or spiking the books crazy high. I don't know how I worded that. That was a weird way to word that.
So, but we're pumped. We're pumped about it. It kind of is a nice place to be, like, you know, excited about these movies. You know what I mean? I feel like we weren't for so long, and it's like I like them and I enjoy them, but it's not like I'm ready for this to come out. But I feel like we got an Elseworlds thing going on, we got a DC thing coming out in August, and we have a Marvel thing coming out in June. Not even to mention the Guardians of the Galaxy that we have coming out next month. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about that. I don't know why. I just watched that. I just rewatched that the other day. Once again, fell asleep in the middle of it, but
Guardians of the
the
Galaxy.
usual. Yeah, Guardians. That one. Yeah, it's good. I don't know why I keep falling asleep. I can never like put all the pieces together.
Yeah, I think that's another one that we might be looking at some recasting, because I don't know if Zoe Saldana or Batista is coming back after this one.
That's what I heard too. I heard that we might not be getting Drax back, but yeah, like as you were saying with Lady Gaga and the Joker, and I keep seeing these like little clips on TikTok, and it's like Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga spotted filming the Joker, and it's like people are actually getting like little clips and stuff of them like dancing on stairs, you know, or like fighting on stairs and stuff like. And I'm like, that is so crazy cool. I'm like, I need to go to New York right now and try to find, you know. Yeah, just to see a clip, you know what I'm saying? Just to see it get filmed for a second, you know, and be like, oh, I was there that day. You know, when you go to see the movie or something. Not knowing if it's your clip or not, but just knowing, like, I saw a piece of that get filmed. That's cool.
I think we talked about this once before, but the Ninja Turtles thing coming out, the new animated movie, I think they're doing it, like, so good. You know what I mean? Because, like, we see these things from Marvel and DC and the announcements, and we get announcements 2 years ahead of time, like, where Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they're like, hey, we have this new thing coming out in 3 months. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Because you have enough time to still be excited when you see it. You know what I mean? And
right.
It's like,
yeah.
I think they're doing really good. I mean, they're also not like a TMNT Studios, so it's just like a one-off. This one's by Seth Rogen, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's producing it. He's producing it for sure.
Yeah, it says.
I don't know if he's directing it.
From Forever Teen Seth Rogen or whatever. You know what I mean? So,
but isn't he a Bebop?
Yeah, he's in the movie too. Yeah,
that's crazy.
I'm so excited for that one.
That's gonna be fun. Ice Cube's in it.
It's like one of those things where it's like, we got the announcement. They blew it up on social media. They started a social media page and we're like spamming like the cast, which is huge. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then they're like just putting out teasers after that, and the movie comes out in August. So it's like you get to see all this stuff, find out about it, see teasers along the way, and then in a couple months you have a payoff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Where
like, especially Secret Wars, like we've known about Secret Wars now for how long, and all this stuff is going to happen between here and there, and we still don't even know. We still don't have a trailer, obviously, because they haven't shot it yet. And like, how do you follow all this stuff for this long and stay excited for something?
That was another,
future?
That was something that I was gonna kind of talk about a little bit. Is that, like, not gonna lie, if you look through our past videos when we first started talking about Secret Wars, you know, I was very, very, very excited. About Secret Wars. More and more stuff kind of keeps coming out little by little here, but now it's to the point where for me, I'm like, I'm just kind of burnt out on even hearing about Secret Wars, to the point, like, when it comes out, am I gonna really even be that excited? Maybe, you know, it really depends on that trailer,
right?
But I'm almost kind of burnt out on it, and I'm sure a lot of us are at this point. And I mean, I guess that's why in the past we don't hear about movies until 6 months before they come out.
Right. I think,
you know, maybe that's a good thing.
A good idea. Yeah. Like, not
that
it's
then
like
you don't
a
have
fresh
all
and
the
new idea, but.
Well, yeah, because then when you do have to cancel something, you don't have everybody else backlashing on it, and like, you're not letting down fans and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I think they can go about it a little bit different.
I think they should still have those plans, but like, we don't need to know about them all. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like, why do I
Which
need
is
to
kind
know
of
what's happening behind the scenes of Marvel in 5 years?
Yeah,
I don't work at Marvel.
Like, yeah, and it's even to the point where, like, things are starting to get released earlier and earlier. Like, you were just bringing up Ninja Turtles. We got a kind of a unofficial trailer for a Last Ronin, kind of like Arkham style adaptation or God of War adaptation of the Last Ronin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like one of those fighter style games for Ronin. And the thing is that this hasn't even actually been picked up by a game developer yet.
Well, I think
so. The little bit that of what we've seen is just like animation and stuff that they want to do. We don't know who's going to make the game. They're saying God of War style, but who knows if I think what is Bethesda or something like that makes God of War. Bethesda, I forget how to say it. I think they're the ones that make that game. But if they don't pick it up, then it's going to be not that it's going to be a totally different game, but it's going to feel different.
Yeah. Who put it out though? Who put out like the little teaser trailer? Is it like a TMNT official thing, or is it like a smaller studio? Or
let me see.
Because I think that's the difference though. Like we just also saw like a Ronin fan film that you showed me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's totally different, because like if you tease something like that from a small like producer, a small animator, a small whatever, you can get eyes on you and put that in your portfolio and potentially get a job making this a real thing. But as far as somebody as big as Marvel Studios putting out these things, it's like you don't need to. Like
CBC put it out.
Oh really?
Oh wait.
It's actually CBCS.
That's what I'm trying to find out, if it's something with comic book company or something.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Comic Book Cast. That's just on that post. Who put out that post? I don't know, but it was. I'm trying to find the exact.
But it wasn't like a TMNT official thing. It sounds like.
No. I mean, I think it. That's the thing, is that I think it was, and that's why everybody's like freaking out, is that they're doing it, but it hasn't been picked up yet. I think what the consensus is, and what I'm seeing on this, is that they announced it and kind of leaked it on purpose, but they're kind of announcing the fact that they're in talks of creating the game. You know, so I think people are taking it and being like, we are getting a new Ronin game, when they didn't say that. They said we're working on developing a new Ronin game.
I think that's like a downfall of social media. Like why? Like everybody needs to post everything. You know what I mean? And I don't.
Oh
get
yeah,
that.
and it always needs to be like super clickable.
Yeah. Hey, we're talking about this. Like, okay, talk about it, and then post it when it's real. Like I don't. You know what I mean? That's where I fall.
There's a bunch of other videos on YouTube talking about the game. If you look it up, there's like this Caboose guy. His videos are pretty cool. And then Comic Book Cast put out some regarding this last Ronin video game that was put out a couple days ago. So they were staying on top of it.
I definitely want to look into this. I feel like Turtles have gotten so many like scrollers, and I just want a real game.
Exactly. That's what makes me super excited for it. But yeah, I think we got something we got some kind of official statement that I think people are kind of twisting. Like, we're getting this. This was announced. Yeah. This is official. It's not official. We're trying to make it official or something like that. So I think it's that they want to show that, you know, the developers or whoever they want, like, oh, there's an audience for Ronin.
Right.
You know, and there definitely is, especially because with that announcement of the game, the last Ronin just hit, which is only released a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was it? 2016?
Something like that. Yeah.
17 maybe. Hit. Let me see. Is averaging sales of $230 right now in a 9.8.
Mm-hmm.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
Because a year ago they weren't that expensive. They were maybe $100, $150, which they did well. Especially they did well with the audience. They did well with the comic community and the readers. So it makes sense that it would kind of sit at $100. But for it to start breaking past that $100 point and not start falling, that's when we're starting to see some heat. But now, with this announcement, those 9.8s are starting to sell for $230, probably all the way up to $350.
Dang. Well, I think this is a good chance to go into that, revisiting that M&M cover that you were just telling me about before we started. The M&M Spider-Man variant.
Yeah, I think you can go back to our videos. That only happened in October, I think, maybe even November. So it was around holiday time. I wasn't able to get in on it, and I remember being pretty upset that I didn't spend the $30 and get it, because like the next week they hit $100, and then the week after that, when we talked about it, they were hitting $300.
Yeah.
Well, right now they're at fair market value at $1,100.
That's crazy.
And that's not the signed ones that M&M was selling on his website. It's not signed.
By the time I saw the M&M one, it was already sold out. I had a small chance to get a Biggie one, and I didn't, and then I refreshed it and it was gone. But that's just crazy to me. Yeah. It's like, that's it. Like, we were excited. Like 2 weeks after they came out, they were $300, and we're like, dang, look at that. You know what I mean? Yep. And now what? What did you say? 1,100?
Yeah, and that's actually my bad. I'm looking at the fair market because for some reason I can't see the 9.8 fair market value. Mm-hmm. So 9.6 fair market value is $1,100.
Oh, okay. So not even a 9.8.
Yeah.
So
not even a 9.8.
9.8's more. You know.
Probably. It really depends. These are new comics, so I would assume that if the 9.6 is hitting $1,100, that 9.8 that's a little bit easier to get could be probably around the same thing. This is the point where these books, when they're starting to spike like this, you're going to start seeing major price jumps between a 9.6 and a 9.8. Sometimes it's not very much, $10, $20. You know, maybe it bumps it down 10% or something like that. Nothing crazy, but this is the 9.8 gaps are going to start being created, and that's what's going to start. For all we know, because I can't see it right now, fair market value on a 9.8 could be at $5,000,
right?
Or it could be at $2,000. You know, so this is where it's gonna pop off. So if you're selling them, if you got them, well, first off, let me know because I want one. But we'll work out a deal. But
didn't Jonathan? I think Jonathan got the Biggie one.
He got the Biggie one. Yeah, okay. The homie John got the Biggie one, and he was upset that he missed out on the Eminem one too. They went so fast, and I think it was because Eminem posted it. I think Eminem did a Twitter thing.
Yeah, he sold them out of his store.
Yeah, but I think he posted it on Twitter, and that's what made it just because gone.
The Biggie ones were through a comic store. There's like a comic link to something. Like they sell other like limited edition comics and stuff like that, where like Eminem sold them directly out of his store, like his
signed
store.
ones. Yeah, his signed.
He sold
ones.
all
like
of
other
them.
people had them, but there was only so many prints. But he had X amount of signed copies.
But like just any of them going to his store is going to max it. You know what I mean? It's easy to find.
Oh yeah.
You're like Eminem online store, boom, comic. Whereas like the Biggie one, you kind of had to Google and find it, and you know what I mean, and trust the link on top of that.
All right. Yeah. Sometimes these comic ones don't always look the best, but they're usually pretty decent.
That Eminem one, man, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine if I actually got my hands on it right now.
Weren't there some other top 10 lists that you want to talk about? We talked about McFarlane a little bit.
Yeah, more Spider-Man, you know, is so I found this week's top 10 list for or on Go Collect.
Mm-hmm.
So the most popular comics of this week. It gave me a list of 100, but the first 5 issues are all Todd McFarlane covers, and starting with Spawn #1. So that's still the hottest comic of the week. That's another one that is consistently selling all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize exactly how many copies were printed and sold of this thing, as there were, because there's like 20,000 graded copies on the census.
Really?
Yeah. Let me check.
Now, what would be causing the McFarlane spike right now? Do you know?
I believe a few days ago that Todd McFarlane, I believe, was on a podcast or on some kind of interview to where somebody had asked him if we're ever going to see something live action for Spawn. Mm-hmm. And he said that he's currently in the works of trying to get that done and trying to work on that. And so far to the point where I think they're starting to pick cast and crew and things like that, really? Of that nature. So I think he might be looking for the right director and things like that. He's been making plans, I guess you could say. Yeah. Or at least from what he said in this video. You know, I don't know Todd McFarlane. I would love to know Todd McFarlane, but I don't know Todd McFarlane.
Right.
But he says it's, you know, the question was, of course, asked if it was going to kind of be at all along the lines of the original live action Spawn. Yeah. If you guys didn't see that one was not too good. He was like, yeah, nope, not going to be anything like that. Never letting that happen again. He's like, I'm going to be 100% hands-on. Like, he's going to be a big part of this in making live action Spawn. So I think that's super cool. I don't know if that's causing this spike, because this is a book that is kind of almost always on these top 10 lists for people. Just,
but for the top 5 to be him, there's, I feel like there's got to be some reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think Todd McFarlane is just, you know, McFarlane right. Toys, change the action figure game, that the whole 9 yards. So I think it's just this whole Todd McFarlane thing that's spiking these top 5 comics, because in number 1 we got Spawn, number 1, of course. Right now those 9.6s are hitting fair market value, average at $80, which is actually a sweet deal, considering that you get them raw for like 30. So I would get it graded at, you know, I'd pay that no problem. But in the number 2 spot is that Venom Lethal Protector. I think that has to do with last week we just got Lethal Protector 2.
Right, yeah.
Coming out. So that's a new run. But Venom Lethal Protector was Venom's first cover and Venom's first like line of comics and the whole 9 yards. That was done by McFarlane.
Jeez.
And then it gets into Secret Wars number 8, which is the first introduction of the symbiote that
the black suit.
Yeah, eventually becomes Venom.
Right.
And then, and as we know, Todd McFarlane drew Venom.
Mm-hmm.
For the very first time. And then in the number 4 spot is the Spider-Man Silver Edition with a 9.6 average fair market value of $60. And the reason why I'm laughing at that is because I have a 9.8 and I spent $265 on that one. And we all know that story. So if you all want to see that video,
if you haven't,
yeah, you can see me smiling with it on the cover. Actually, no, you edited the thumbnail and I look pretty dope.
Yeah,
a big gold chain.
the cool guy sunglasses.
Yeah. But yeah, that Silver Edition, and then the number 5 spot is that same exact issue, but the original first print, Yellow Edition.
Right on.
Or third print, sorry.
Well,
but yeah, it's all Todd McFarlane. And then if you keep going down the list, it's Wolverine number 1, and then you get back into more Todd McFarlane with Spider-Man 300.
Okay. That Spider-Man 300 cover's cool.
Oh, I love it, dude.
Yeah. Well, speaking of comics, should we talk about some new comics?
New comics getting into the pull list?
Let's get in the pull list, man.
Let's dive in.
You got
transition.
Let's get a sound effect from you first. Explosions.
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 Alrighty, guys, we are going to be diving into our pull list this week. First up on the list, what do you got, my homie?
First book on the pull list, Masters of the Universe, Masterverse number 3. It looks like there's all kinds of things happening in the Masterverse, and we've talked about Masters of the Universe a little bit, but I feel like we never touch on their comics. So I wanted to bring out their comics a little bit and it looks like there's a drunken group of explorers who are jokingly calling themselves the Masters of the Universe. So they have to decide on saving a captured sorceress or just looting the place instead. So it sounds like a pretty interesting little break into, like, it's not like your typical like Masters of the Universe type stuff. So it sounds a little bit more out of left field, a little bit more comedy driven, a little bit more I don't know, it's just different. It's just different, and I like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So Masters of the Universe, Masterverse number 3. There's a couple variants, and it's going to have 32 pages and retail for a price of $3.99.
There we go, man. Yeah, that one sounds pretty solid. It sounds like a little bit of a break from the deep tie-ins that we've been dealing with over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, sounds super exciting. All right, for book number 2, diving into 8 Billion Genies, issue number 8. This is the last issue. This is comic 8 of 8 for 8 Billion Genies. Not gonna lie, haven't been able to dive into it too much. This is another one.
I'm waiting. I'm excited to see it on the pull list, but I'm waiting for that trade.
Yeah, I think I have close to every issue, so I think it's about time to start diving into it. This is one of those books that you have to read it issue by issue, because it goes by the first 8 seconds, 8 minutes, 8 days,
right.
8 weeks, 8 months, 8 years. And that's the point that we're getting down to is 8 years and stuff like that. So time starts traveling really, really fast. It starts going slow, but then it's real fast.
Right. I love the idea of this. Like I said, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting to binge read it. I want to read the whole thing. You know what I mean? And I want to have that. I want to have it on my shelf. You know what I mean? I want something to display for this one.
Right. And there's always the variants always make super, super cool ones. Looks like they're doing like an homage to like an old like almost Galactica or something like that, Space Invaders style game. And just cover A is always super cool. They do a lot of the Galaxy style covers.
Yeah. The style is really cool on this one.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna have 32 pages in retail for a cover price of $3.99.
I got book number 3 as Guardians of the Galaxy number 1. So we got a new Guardians thing coming out right ahead of the Guardians movie dropping next month. It looks like this one is going to get into one of them turned on the rest of the Guardians. So they're dealing with that, and they just have to get into like how to deal with that internal turmoil. You know what I mean? I didn't know anything about this, so I had to look up, and apparently Drax turned on the rest of the team, and Gamora wanted to go out on a mission, and nobody else wanted to support her on that. So they're definitely dealing with some internal turmoil. I think that's the best way to describe it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had to also mention there's a Scotty Young cover for this one. Had to mention the Scotty Young cover, but there's actually, it looks like 9 different variants on this one. Gonna have 36 pages and gonna be $4.99. So you gotta pay $1 for those extra 4 pages.
Right. Dang.
Right.
All right. Are we diving into the last book?
Last book.
Last book up on the pull list is you guys, of course, hitting that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on so you guys don't miss out on any future podcasts, videos, none of it.
We're trying new things.
Yeah, we're trying new things. Let us know in the description if you like these like talking head style podcasts, and maybe webcam style, and maybe we'll do this a little bit more often.
Yes.
I
honestly like it. I like being in person, but I also like having the computer here. Like, you've been looking up facts and stuff. We've been fact checking ourselves, and not just hoping we remember what we remember. So that's definitely a positive.
Yeah, definitely. We're definitely going to do a couple more like this. Like I said, next week is going to be the one that you guys are going to want to have that notification bell on for, because we're going to have a couple guests, and we are very, very excited to have them on the podcast.
Yes.
So, last and final book is Miles Morales issue number 5 here. Still pretty early into these issues, so if you haven't had a chance to pick these up yet, now's a perfect time. You can probably still find issue number 1 at a lot of the local shops that you'll go to. I know I still see issue number 1s floating around. My favorite ones of these, as far as variant-wise, are the Alex Ross and Tyler Kirkham covers. It looks like, they have, I can never say it, Marco Mastrazzo as one other artist, and then the rest of them are Alex Ross, like the timeless variants that he does, which is super cool. And then Tyler Kirkham has a virgin variant, I believe, which is probably a ratio. Yeah, right. It's just super, super cool, and more Black Cat on
Miles
that one, and then it looks like
always dope. They're
always. And this looks like, so we got Black Cat. We got a Black Cat cover, an Electro cover, and a Venom cover. So it looks like we could have a couple different tie-ins regarding these few of them.
Miles is dope.
Right.
Miles is
and there's Miles
dope.
with a baby.
And you've been playing the game, and
I love Miles. I'm super obsessed with Miles.
I think that brings it up to I think we're done.
I think this wraps up the podcast, man.
I can't talk anymore.
Right.
All right. Thanks for checking out this issue. Oh my god.
This issue of Lights Comics Action.
Yeah, thanks for being here for episode 25 of Lights Comics Action and our pull list of the week. Be sure to check out the link in the description for free money when you use our code to sign up for Whatnot. You get $10 using that link and 10% off on Dubby.gg, getting 10% off using code Collective Comics at checkout. I think I repeated myself a lot in there, but just do it. Check it out. All right, I think I'm done this week, buddy. Are you good?
I think we're good. I think we're all tapped out, man.
I'm done talking.
We'll see you guys next week. This has been Collective Comics.
Bye.
Later.